so I'm just going to say that one more time. Again, if you have not finished the IXL diagnostic and you are one of these students, okay, please get this done ASAP. So these 5 have started it. These people need to start it. That was what we asked you to do in week 1. And then there was one lesson. We started our lesson 1. You'll notice this unit 4 is a little bit goofy. We really only have 2 lessons. And then there's a quiz. And then we're going to jump into unit 5 for the rest of the time. So really, we're going to kind of focus on unit 4 right now, since there is a quiz this week. And what we talked, basically the 2 sort of ideas that we talked about were isosceles triangles and mid segments. We are turning the point in geometry where we are going to talk about triangles for a really, really long time. Okay, so I like triangles. I think a lot of students like triangles. Okay, so hopefully that is helpful. We can get off on the right foot here. So let's kind of jump into it. Oh, and before we get going any further, why don't you guys type in the chat? How do we feel about this cold weather so far? Are we liking it? Do we like the snow? Are we not feeling the snow, the cold? Where are we at with this? Okay, some of us are liking it, love it. All right, hate it. So okay, we're all over the place. Still in shorts and a t-shirt. Oh my goodness. I hope you're not going outside very often like that. Okay. So again, just thanks for letting me know. It's just interesting. Not all fans. All right. Well, something that, and again, you may have some background knowledge on it, you may not. Isosceles and equilateral. Let's get a different color. 2 types of triangles we're going to talk a lot about this year because there are unique properties with them. Isosceles and equilateral triangles. Isosceles are unique because they have 2 sides are the same. So again, hopefully if you've watched the videos already, you've taken your notes, this is review. If not, again, I always recommend you write this stuff down, but you need to watch those instructional videos, okay? Doing the class connects. We're going to go through this stuff really fast. Those videos go more in depth. So the key to an isosceles triangle is that 2 sides are the same. So if these lines have a dash like I just drew here, that means that those signs are the same. Those sides are the same. It also means, and this is where the converse comes in, that the angle opposite. So again, if opposite in geometry means like a cross. So that means if this is angle 1 and then this one across, opposite means across is angle 2, then those are also going to be the same. So I'm going to add to our notes, 2 sides are the same and 2 angles are the same. So we need to apply this stuff. That's what geometry is applying these things to the problems. So if I know what this yellow side is, I also know what the other side is. Or if I know what angle 2 is, I also know what angle 1 is. And I can solve those things. Sometimes you might have to do a little bit of algebra. If this is 2x and this is 60, and the problem says solve for x, well, you have to set 2x equal to 60 and solve it. Okay? So depending on what you're given, depending on what you know, determines what you do with it. Equilateral triangles are unique because all 3 sides are the same. Which, if we can apply what we just learned about isosceles, what's that going to tell us about the angles? If all 3 sides are the same, what are the angles going to have to be? All 3 angles are also the same. You got it. And triangles always add up to a certain number. Triangles add up to how many degrees are inside of a triangle? 180 degrees. Awesome. So no matter what, if in the geometry in the rest of your life, if something says it is a triangle, you know that those three angles are going to add up to 180 degrees. Again, that's a property that we have to apply to problems. So if I know two of the angles, I can find the third angle by adding them up and subtracting from 180. There's also something called the exterior angle sum, which basically tells us this. If I have a triangle, okay, something like this, and I know the angle on the outside of my triangle. So I know that this angle is 70 degrees here. We would classify this right here, this blue line, as a straight line. And who can remind me? How many degrees is a straight line? 180 degrees again. So you'll see a lot of times in geometry, we're going to add stuff to equal 180. So if I know that this angle right here is 70 degrees and little angle plus little angle equals big angle. Remember me saying that all the time in quarter one, little angle of 70 degrees plus big angle, I don't know, it's X, or little angle plus little angle equals my big angle, which we just said a straight line is 180 degrees. All I have to do is subtract 70 to get 110. So if we were trying to determine what's this angle right here, we would say it is 110 degrees because of the exterior angle sum. Okay, we talked about the base angles. Again, super important to remember if it's an isosceles triangle and whatever sides are the same, if this side is the same and this side is the same, it is the angles across. Opposite means across. So that means that this angle right here, if we call it ABC, and this angle over here. So I could say that angle A and angle C are going to be the exact same because it's an isosceles triangle. Or we can work backwards. We can work backwards and say, well, if I know that this angle is congruent with this angle, well, then I know that this side is congruent to this side. So again, if this was 4x and this was 50, I would say 50 equals 4x divided by 4, and I could get x. Pausing on those till again, I know I'm going fast. We're going fast because this is a review of basically the last 2 weeks. And again, you need to go back and watch those videos if you haven't yet so that you can get more in-depth knowledge, okay? The last thing that we talked about, well, it was really lesson 2. We talked about mid segments. And I'm going to give you the properties of mid segments, okay? Think about this word mid. We think about this as cut in half. So we have segments that get sliced in half. So if I draw a triangle, let's label it A, B, C, and I draw the mid segment, it could be something like this, okay? That means that this side is congruent to this side, and this side is congruent to this side. So let's call this D and E. So I could say that AD is congruent to DB, and I could say that BE is congruent to EC. They're going to be the same. So if you have numbers, you set them equal to each other. The other property that goes along with this is this segment right here and this segment right here. Does anyone know how are DE and AC related? How do they relate? DE is 1/2 of AC. That is correct. That is one way to say it. The other way to say it is AC is twice as big as DE. So if I call DE X, AC is going to equal 2X. So again, you can think 2 times whatever DE is equals AC, or you can think about half of AC equals DE. We're basically saying the exact same thing, just again, depending on what information you have, what did the problem give you, you can then apply that to figure out what you need. If you have DE, then you need to multiply it by 2 to get AC. If you have AC, you need to divide it by 2 to get DE. Depends on what the problem gives you. And the last sort of, I guess it's kind of like a property or something that we know about triangles is that if we get a perpendicular bisector, again, hopefully you start to recognize these words, perpendicular bisector. Those are not new words. We talked about those words in quarter one. Perpendicular means meets at 90 degrees, which is a right angle, and bisector means cuts in half. So I could say, hey, this line right here, if it meets at 90 degrees, which is a right angle, it's going to cut this line in half. So I could say that AB is going to be congruent to, if this was D, DB. AD is congruent to DB. And if this is true, it's also going to be one of our special triangles, which could tell us, hey, AC is also congruent to BC, which means if those two sides are the same, it is an isosceles. And if it's an isosceles, then we also know that this angle is congruent to this angle. So you can see how everything sort of builds off of itself. What we've learned first quarter is really coming back. These vocab words are sticking around. So these are just all about practice. Again, you're going to have to get practice solving these, practice doing these. So let's go ahead and do some practice while we got a little bit of time left. So that's good. All right. Isosceles triangles and triangle midsegments. That's what I want. Start. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post the link in the chat. I want you guys to click that. And then again, we'll try to probably get about 5 minutes of practice here before we recap and wrap up. Okay, so I copied the link. I'm going to post it in the chat right now. Boom. We've got a lot of people in our Class Connect today. That's great. Go ahead, click that link. Let's get started. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. So again, if you are, something just crazy happened to there it goes. If you're watching the recording, I want you to watch it, pause it, try the problems on your own, and then hit the play button again. Okay, we've got 7 people in the meet. I need everybody to get in the meet. So if you're not one of those 7 people, click that link, please, and join us. It won't let you in. What do you mean? Can you click on the link again? All right. So again, I know slow Wi-Fi. Okay. Laura, can we get you to click the link, please? Let's see here. My Abdirahman, can you click the link as well? Jason, click the link, please. Finley, click the link. Thank you. Gotcha. That's all right. We're going to move on in about a minute. So let's get about 1 more minute. If you had trouble, that's okay. Third problem. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up. Again, use this kind of as your own self-assessment. How are we doing with this stuff? If this was really hard for you, I would recommend doing some more practice before you jump into the quiz. Let's see here. Question. Let's look at question 11. All right. Yeah, this one's a good one to go over. Let me share my screen. All right. So again, we've got this mid segment is a mid segment. Okay. What is the length of VX? So this is like what I think somebody said earlier. I can take this and multiply it by 2, or I can divide this by 2. I think multiplying this by 2 is going to be way, way, way easier. So and I'll share my screen here. So as I do that, I'm going to say, okay, 2 times, oh no, I knew that was going to happen. My Apple Pencil went away. 2 times parentheses x minus 3 equals, I can't see it, x plus 3. There it goes. Well, maybe we can share it and use the whiteboard feature. Whiteboard. There we go. Apologies. My Apple Pencil died on me. All right. So 2 times x minus 3 equals, and it was x plus 3. Because again, that's a property of the mid segment that we have to remember. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6 equals x plus 3. I need to get all my x's on the same side, so I'm going to subtract. I'm going to subtract, which leaves me with x minus 6 equals 3. And then I'm going to add 6 on both sides. And so I get a final answer of x equals 9. So again, taking what I know and applying it to the problem. Let's talk about your Class Connect assignment. I know we're running out of time here. That's okay. Okay. This is 7th grade. We want to go to geometry. Again, if you scroll down, you'll see right here, quarter 2 Class Connect assignments. Everybody has to do this, okay? All of you watching the recording or in the live session, I want you to do this. So this was actually the problem we just did. Okay, if you were paying attention, I just did this problem. So you should know this answer. And this one, okay? If I know that this is 31, I also know that this is 31. So a triangle has 180 degrees. So I would do 180 minus 31 minus 31. And whatever's left has to equal this. So 180 minus 62, set that equal to 6x minus 20, and you can solve it from there. Again, this is an isosceles triangle. That's what I've got for you today. We do not meet next week. I know that it's kind of a short week. We've only got 2 days of school. So I'm going to publish next week's work now. So again, if you're traveling, if you're trying to get ahead, you can go ahead and do this stuff ahead of time so that you don't have to worry about it. So I just published week 3 for you, quarter 2, week 3. All right, that's all I've got for you. Have a great rest of your day and good fall break. We won't meet next week, and I'll see you after that.